Good morning, everyone. So, this is, this is the start of my Alvin and the Bradys series. I'm gonna, compare. So, before I'm gonna compare characters, episodes, you know, and, my hopes and dreams. But before I, start, I forgot to mention, on MeTV, there was this one episode of the Brady Bunch where really wanted to copy this episode to a disc. It was when they were on setting the teeter-totter record, and, it was always bad weather. It was always there was always like severe weather. It always would rain a lot, and so it was frustrating because there would always be a news crawl um, logo indicating the severe weather event. So I think eventually I did get a copy of it, with WHIO, MeTV. So anyway, let's begin with my Alvin and the Bradys series. So yeah, let's discuss the timeline. So so the Chipmunks started out with the Alvin show, as you all know, and the Alvin show. It just had Dave, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. So you know, that's that was their very first television series, and so their last name was Seville, and with the Brady Bunch, just like the Brady Bunch, the original people on that show that actually had the last name Brady were Mike Brady, Greg, Peter, and Bobby. Yeah, the boys. So yeah, the girls did not have the last name Brady. So it does make sense that this was a good precursor to the Brady Bunch. That this was the Alvin show was a good concept of the Brady Bunch before they became the Bunch. So you could call because David Seville, and you got the three Chipmunk boys, and that was it. Yeah, that was it. There was no. This basically shows you what the Brady family was like before. Of course, there's no Alice. In this, I guess maybe you could say like Clyde Crash Cup. I don't know, but that was like a separate cartoon that was part of the Alvin show. I didn't really, but it was a good cartoon because it was. But anyway, so basically this was the Brady Bunch before they were the Bunch. You could just call it the Brady Boys or just simply the Bradys, which that was like a that was actually another an adaptation in like the late 80s, early 90s. it was under the title The Bradys. So anyway, this was basically before, the Brady, this is basically the concept of before they even met the, there's also my three sons, but you get the idea. So, and and then, they met the Brady, and then, then we get and then in, 1969, we get the Brady Bunch, and, in early 60s, they were still just the three boys alone, and, they met the girls in 1969 here, so, yeah, and, after that, yeah, so they become real people in the 1970s, basically, and then we get and then they turn back into chipmunks in the 1980s as as a Muppet Babies, sort of a Muppet Babies version of the Brady Bunch, but but still, there are differences between, the actual Brady Bunch and, the 80s adaptation of Alvin and the Chipmunks. Like, actually, they met, they were actually, the Chipettes were actually called the Chipmunks as well. They were actually in the very first episode. Yeah, in the very first episode, they were actually called the Chipmunks, just like the boy Chipmunks were called the Chipmunks as well. So they actually met each other, and actually, if you watch the first episode of the Brady Bunch, the girls are seen in their nightwear, in their nightgowns, and also when you see the first episode where the Chipettes make their television debut, they're also seen in their nightwear at the hotel. So, that, I can see a lot of similarities between these two shows, and, so yeah, but unlike the Brady Bunch here, when Alvin and the Chipmunks, introduce these new characters, most episodes, in fact, during the first season, they actually only appeared in 2 episodes. One, and I think the one where, the very first episode and the very last episode where they run for class president, and there's actually a Brady Bunch episode in the first season that's very similar. So yeah. So yeah, I don't want to make this video too long, but that's pretty much the story. But one more thing to add before I go, the most episodes, it was just Dave and the boys, just like just like, the Alvin show back in 1962. So, it wasn't, it was, was kind of disappointing, but I'll get to that in a later video about, it was just Dave, it was just, maybe to keep the show more original, and, they just had Dave and the boys, but, they actually they actually released these characters. They actually merchandise these 3 girls, so they were sort of main characters, but sort of not, and I'll get to that in a later video. So anyway, that this is my first, and I've got a lot to say. So that those are the timelines. So it's like so basically this is a Muppet Babies version. So basically the Alvin and the Chipmunks came back in the 1980s as a sort of a Muppet Babies version of the Brady Bunch. Sort of and sort of not, and sort of it was just, retaining its original format with just Dave and the boys. That was kind of disappointing for me, and the camping episode, I'll talk more about the camping episode on how that, and the liberal and women's lib. So anyway, I'm going to end off here, so more to come.